yes, admitting that some of the key players, the key leaders weren't available, that maybe they lost it in the first leg with the suspension to Fernandes and the injuries that they had and conceding the goals that they did. But just to give a real reality check about the job that still needed to be done at United and how far away they are from being really competitive at a top level.
Well, they need some signings, definitely, but they also need to move on some players. You know, you could run through maybe half a dozen minimum that you need to move on, but I think there's definitely 3 or 4 to change the culture of the club, because there's a culture of acceptance, has been there for a long time. The likes of Martial, you know, not really fussed. You know, Maguire, you know, he's honest, he tries hard, but he's not good enough to play at that level of football. I feel sorry for Lindelof. He's not a bad player, you know, he's not the worst, but he always seems to get paired with Maguire and he always seems to get dragged down with him. I think him paired with Martinez wouldn't be the end of the world, but, you know, their signings have been pretty poor. When you look at the profile, the likes of Varane, you know, he's pushing on in age, a lot of injuries. He's injury prone, so you have to expect that he's going to be out. So you need a third centre-back that's more than capable. They haven't got that. Casemiro is coming to the latter stage of the career. I said from the start, I think they've gotten the best. Real Madrid got the best out of him. Tonight was a poor performance from him, but it's a culture change.
What about the keeper? What about De Gea? There's talk, the reports are that he's close to agreeing a new contract.
So I'll tell you how that works, right? So Man United obviously know they want to get rid of David De Gea, right? But they're thinking, if we move him on, what are we going to sell him for? Not very much, because, you know, no one's paying top dollar for him. So they think, well, we stick with him because, well, he's doing OK and we live with him. We've got bigger problems to fix. If we get rid of David De Gea, we have to spend, what's the going rate for a good goalkeeper now? 80, 100 million? Haven't got that type of money. We've got bigger holes to fill. You know, Harry Maguire, you want to move him on, and I think they will move him on, but they're looking and going, how do we recoup some money? We paid £80 million for him. There's probably still money outstanding, instalments of that. So Man United are probably thinking, what's the best way out of this deal? Do they cut their losses and accept that they're going to lose £80 million in Harry Maguire? You know, you could spend 400 million cleaning out that squad just in writing off transfer fees and wages.
This is a kind of a bleak picture, because, like, we started the evening, we talked about, look, United could potentially, like, really have a bit of a springboard, go through in this cup semi-final weekend, you know, big league games to come to secure Champions League football. But what you're talking about, lads, is a clear out of a lot of players, a lot of work that needs to be done, a lot of money to be spent. But the ownership is completely up in the air. Yeah. They've gone out to the Glazers and said, we want a third round of bids. There's stories saying that they actually want to hold on to the club and bring in external investment. And that's obviously going to affect the planning for next year. I mean, Weghorst was brought in because he was cheap. You know, there was that side of it is clearly impacting what they're doing. So suddenly, I don't know if it's just after tonight, but the bigger picture at United, like, there's big questions to ask there, Richard.
But that's been there for as long as the Glazers have been there. Nobody wants them there. None of the fans want them there. They've always been the main problem at Man United. And over a period of time, they've mustered a squad which isn't good enough. The problem that Eric Ten Hag has is the attitude of that squad, the culture within the football club now. And it's like Damien said, they're not going to get rid of David De Gea because he's doing OK. Well, that's not Man United. That's not what Man United should be looking for. They should be looking for the best. Not one of those players, maybe Rashford when he come on, would get into the Man City squad or the Arsenal squad or something like that. And Man United, they thought they were in a title race a couple of weeks ago. And from that moment, when they started to believe their own hype, they've fallen apart. They've lost a load of games, dropped right out of the title race or whatever, out of Europe now. They've got a game against a really, really good Brighton side at the weekend. And that amazing first season quickly turns around to right now the reality is hitting that we need a new goalie, we need a new centre back, we need more full backs, we need centre forwards. So United need investment, and if the Glazers stay there, it's not going to happen for them. So that's their biggest problem. And just finally on that, and to kind of bring sort of fairness to it, like, they have improved this season. They're already past last season's points total. But maybe there's a lot more work to be done than the fans might have hoped at this stage.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, to change the culture of the club, you probably need to bring in 2 or 3, because then you'll have 6 players when you factor in Fernandes, Martinez, Varane. All of a sudden now there's a culture of a winning culture, and you'll take some of the ones that we're talking about with you and you'll get them over to your side. But at the minute, there's just too many fellas that the highlight of their career is going to be the fact that they played for Manchester United. That's it. Yeah. They won't achieve anything in terms of, you know, league success or European success. They don't have it in them. They're just ecstatic. Like, you look like Weghorst, ecstatic to be at Manchester United. Can't believe it that he's there. Yeah. He shouldn't be signing players like Sabitzer, not a bad player. Eriksen, probably best days are behind him as well. You're getting a tune out of him. You're not going to get 50
There's
games
a lot of
out
those,
him.
isn't there?
You're not going to get 50 games out of him.
And look, you'd imagine Ten Hag knows that and is trying to work around it.